Hey there, movie lovers. Welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're looking at Candy, the 1968 satirical sex comedy. Before we start though, I'd just like to say this is the first time on this channel that I have covered trivia for a movie that I'd never previously seen. I came across it while researching Marlon Brando, looked it up, saw the cast list and thought, what the hell? How have I never seen this? I did the research and became aware of what to expect, and I have to say, this was one of the most enjoyable new movie experiences I've had in quite a while. I thought it was pretty well directed, but it has no real story, it's completely absurd, and just an absolute joy to spot all the great actors that are in it playing the most bizarre characters. It's one of those films that is so bad it's good. So if you have never seen it or haven't in 50 years, after this video, when you are well prepared for what to expect, watch it. You can find it here on YouTube. It was a refreshing change from sequels, remakes and generic Netflix movies that we are bombarded with these days. So let's take a trip and uncover some wild facts with 20 things you never knew about Candy. Candy is based on the 1958 novel of the same name by Terry Southern and Mason Hoffenberg. The book itself was a modern, erotic parody of Voltaire's Candide, reimagining the classic story of a naive optimist wandering through a world filled with corruption and vice. Southern, who co-wrote Dr. Strangelove, infused the novel with biting satire, making it the perfect candidate for a film adaptation during the counterculture movement of the late 60s. Before Candy became a reality, there was an earlier attempt to bring it to the screen. Director Frank Perry, who shot the film David and Lisa from 1962, was originally set to helm the project, with United Artists backing the film. However, when United head David Picker was ousted, the project collapsed. It wasn't until French actor Christian Marquand took an interest that the film was revived. Christian, best known for And God Created Woman, was desperate to direct Candy, and personally begged his longtime friend Marlon Brando to sign on. Brando agreed, and his involvement helped secure financing from a mix of Italian, French and American producers. With the budget in place, the film quickly attracted more big-name actors. The film is packed with Hollywood heavyweights and cultural icons. Along with Brando, there are 4 other Oscar winners: James Coburn, Walter Matthau, John Huston and Ringo Starr, as well as 2 Oscar nominees, Richard Burton and Buck Henry. Here's a rundown of some of the bizarre roles played by the talented ensemble. James Coburn plays an eccentric brain surgeon who performs public operations and brands his female assistants with tattoos. The film even features a moment where he installs an electrical socket in John Astin's character's head, decades before The Matrix popularized the idea. Walter Matthau plays a military general who demands sexual favors from Candy as a reward for giving her father a blood transfusion. Ringo Starr took on the role of Emmanuel, a dim-witted Mexican gardener with a wildly inconsistent accent, part Liverpudlian, part exaggerated Spanish. In one of the film's most absurd moments, he ends up assaulting Candy on a pool table, while Richard Burton's character simultaneously romances with a mannequin. John Astin, best known as Gomez Addams from The Addams Family, plays both Candy's straight-laced father and her sleazy swinger uncle. Finding the right actress for the lead role proved difficult. When Frank Perry and United Artists were still involved, they tried to cast Hayley Mills, the beloved Parent Trap star, as Candy. Her father, John Mills, refused to allow it. Other contenders included Twiggy, before 17-year-old Swedish beauty queen Eva Orlin was ultimately chosen. Author Terry Southern was heavily involved in the film's early stages, but he left the project after Orlin was cast. He reportedly felt that Candy should be played by an all-American Midwestern girl, not a European actress. Screenwriter Buck Henry, known for The Graduate and Get Smart, was brought in to complete the script. Southern's message in Candy was that America's sexual repression led to obsession and absurdity. The film portrays nearly every male character as blinded by their desires, making them ridiculous or predatory. Marlon Brando delivered one of the film's most memorable performances as a fraudulent guru named Grindle. Dressed in flowing robes and long black hair, he mixed Indian, Scottish and New York accents to emphasize his character's phoniness. Another thing to keep you rewatching his segment is to count him looking off camera for his cue cards, adding to the film's surreal humour. If you're enjoying the video, a subscribe to the channel would be more electrifying than James Coburn's brain surgery. Buck Henry has reflected on the troubled production of Candy. He knew things were off track when the film, intended to feature the all-American girl, cast a Swedish actress, some of it shot in Italy, and had a mostly non-American cast who struggled with the dialogue. Henry, who was also writing the script during shooting, didn't believe it was an ideal working process. The French director lacked production support, and the project shifted between Italy, New York, and Hollywood, with actors constantly rotating. Along with these challenges, Henry felt the film lacked focus, having no clear beginning or end. He admitted that a lot of the book's content couldn't be shown at that time due to censorship, but even with the current almost total lack of it, he said it still wouldn't have worked out any better under the same circumstances. Candy was only the second and final film directed by Christian Marquand. Though better known as an actor, he later appeared in Apocalypse Now, but his scenes were cut and later restored in the Redux version. Production manager Gary Frederickson revealed that Marlon Brando actually tried to have sex with Eva Orlin for real on camera in the scene where Grindle attempts to seduce Candy. "I remember she had a strong reaction to it. Well, she freaked out," he said. Apparently, Eva Orlin needed 2 weeks of therapy after filming with Marlon Brando. His intense improvisational style reportedly left her emotionally drained. The film earned Orlin a nomination for New Star of the Year at the 26th Golden Globe Awards 1969. But despite this and being the film's lead, Orlin's acting career never really took off. She appeared in a few Italian films before quitting acting in the mid-1970s to become a teacher. Douglas Trumbull, the visual effects mastermind behind 2001: A Space Odyssey, created the special effects for Candy's journey to Earth. Richard Burton played the arrogant, drunken poet Mephisto, whose hair dramatically billows in the wind at all times. His most infamous scene involves him licking spilled whiskey off the floor of a glass-bottomed limo. The name Mephisto was later used by Bono of U2 for his over-the-top stage persona during the Zooropa tour in 1993. In one scene, the hunchback, played by Charles Aznavour, evades the police by crawling across the ceiling of a mansion before leaping through a window made of water. The striking visual is a clear nod to Jean Cocteau's The Blood of a Poet from 1932. In which a character jumps into a water-like mirror before crawling over a strange corridor lined with doors. Even the dramatic voice heard in the scene mirrors the sound effect used in Cocteau's surrealist classic. The director makes a brief appearance in the film's final scene, visible through a reflection in the mirror walls. This moment, filmed outdoors, captures not only him, but many of the cast and camera crew, blurring the line between the film's world and its production. Buck Henry, the screenwriter, also had a cameo. He is the straight-jacketed man in the elevator who becomes agitated at the mention of James Coburn's character, Dr. A.B. Crankite. If you hadn't worked it out, Dr. Crankite's gloves went on a bit too smoothly. This was shot with the assistant taking the gloves off and then reversing the footage in post-production. The soundtrack features songs by the Byrds and Steppenwolf, both of whom would later contribute to Easy Rider, another film co-written by Terry Southern. Candy did okay at the box office, pulling in over $16 million from a $3 million budget, and was the 18th highest grossing film of 1968. Reviews were mixed, but Roger Ebert praised it as better than you might expect, but felt it lacked the anarchic spirit of Terry Southern's novel. It later became a cult classic. However, Marlon Brando has called this movie the worst movie I ever made in my life. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about Candy. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.